Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you'll never miss a new episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to another I Love Dentistry office hours with Gary Takas. Gary, welcome back. This is our usual Wednesday I Love Dentistry office hours. We have an interesting topic. How, by the way, before we get started, how are you doing? How is Phoenix? How is life?
Yeah, things are great. We are experiencing some extreme summer heat, which is kind of expected about this time of year. It's going to be 117 degrees today. And that is the ambient air temperature. That's not feels like. It's actually going to be 117 degrees today. Now, granted, the humidity is about 5%, so it's dry. But our grandson, Anthony, made his baseball all-star team. We're pretty excited about that. And they have their first game tonight. And it will still be at 7 p.m. It'll still be about 113 degrees. And they are playing. So Anthony's a tough little baseball player. So but he's going to be playing baseball tonight in 113 degrees. So it's his all-star game, first all-star game, a single elimination. So as long as they keep winning, they keep going. And we're pretty proud of Anthony for making the all-star team. He's an awesome little baseball player. He's 9 years old.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. By the way, when was he born? What month?
So he was born in September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he defies the book, what's it called? Malcolm Gladwell's book, the 10,000, it talks about the 10,000 hours.
Right.
And he says people who are born in January, February end up getting into these all-star teams.
Oh, wow.
Because they have a huge advantage when they're younger. So of course they get promoted and they go to the bigger and bigger leagues and the better and better leagues. And
because they're the oldest in their group.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he said, if you look at the Canadian national hockey team, like literally everyone was born before March.
Yeah, so they were always the oldest in their group, which gives an advantage, and especially with him, with him, only being 9 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big advantage at that age. So
we're really proud of him. He's an awesome athlete. He plays a lot of different positions on baseball, and he made the All-Star team. We'll see how far they go. But I'm feeling it for him tonight, playing in 113 degree weather. So he's going to be hydrated. We make sure he's really, really, really hydrated, but it's still tough to go out there and play.
I know
when it's that hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's jump into today's topic, Gary. Great topic, and it's a fitting topic for right now.
It's timeless.
It's timeless. Creating positive patient expectations.
Yeah, we're going to talk about creating positive patient expectations, and kind of the context for this subject is. People will often do what we expect them to do if we let them know what those expectations are. Now, that's kind of the framework for this. People will often do what we expect them to do if we let them know what those expectations are. And if we don't let them know what our expectations are, then the patient will go about their behavior however they want. So this is all about being on offense. We've talked before in these office hours about the difference between offense and defense. This is all about setting positive patient expectations. And specifically, what I'm going to get into is setting expectations about them keeping the appointments that they make in the practice. Let's face it, cancellations and no-shows in dental offices today are an epidemic, Naren. Quite literally, it is something that haunts virtually every dental practice on the planet. And when we look at, why do people cancel appointments? Why do they cancel? Why do they no-show? Well, there could be many, many, many reasons, Naren. I mean, some of them, get very practical. Like, they went to start the car and the battery was dead, right? Or they got called into an emergency meeting at work that they didn't expect. Those kind of things happen. Let's recognize that those happen. But ultimately, if you look at this, really kind of globally, one of the reasons, assuming it isn't one of those urgent situations like the battery's dead or they got called into an emergency meeting, the reason why people cancel a no-show is because they can, right? I
Yes.
mean, what
Yes.
happens? What happens if they, if they don't show up? Well, the office might have, a canceled appointment fee, or they might have some kind of a consequence. But most practices don't have any consequences. So um, people will cancel a no-show because they can't. Um, the TV personality psychologist, Dr. Phil, has a saying that I actually like the saying. The saying is, we train people how to treat us. And if it's perfectly okay for someone to show up or not show up, then you're training them to treat their appointments casually. So here's something that we discovered, not only in my own office, but we discovered it in my client work, that can radically reduce cancellations and no-shows. Now, not necessarily eliminate them, because if I did have the pixie dust that I could sprinkle over every practice where we would virtually eliminate cancellation no-shows, I would love to have that pixie dust. It doesn't exist. But here is something we found that is perhaps the next best alternative. So imagine a new patient. In the case of the way we do our new patient experience, this is how that would look. At some point, they're going to be sitting down for an interview with the new patient coordinator. And this can be adapted to your practice however you do your new patient experience. So at some point in our case, they're sitting down with a new patient coordinator. And the new patient coordinator is going to ask 7 very specific questions in the interview. And the purpose of that interview is to understand the patient's dental story. Every patient has a dental story, unless they're 2 years old and their first visit is a happy visit on the chair, where we're getting comfortable in the dental office. Then everybody has a dental story. Even a 20-year-old that has never had a cavity in their head, they have a dental story. We want to learn what their dental story is. And certainly if it's a 65-year-old and they have a lot of things going on in their mouth, then the dental story is a lot more complicated. And the purpose of that interview, maybe we could do a future I Love Dentistry office hours on the new patient interview and those 7 questions. Aaron, maybe we could follow up on that.
Absolutely.
But at the end of those 7 questions, the new patient coordinator is going to turn to the patient and say something like this. Linda, we're going to get to know your teeth really well. That's why you're here. But we also like to get to know our patients as people. That's why we went through those questions. Now, before we head into the back office to do the clinical part of your appointment, may I take a minute and share what you can expect from us as a patient in our practice? Can I share with you what you can expect from us? And what is everyone going to say?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure, I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, you can expect 4 things from us. Number one, let me go through those with you. Number one, you can expect us to treat you like family members. We think of our patients as our patient family, and we're going to treat you like we would a loved one or a family member. Number 2, because of that, we're going to use the latest advances in dentistry, the best materials, the latest technology, because that's what we would want if we were a patient in the practice. Number 3, you can expect us to stand behind our work. If something isn't right, we redo it until it meets our satisfaction.
Right.
Number 4, as an active patient in our practice, Linda, you can expect to reach our doctors after hours if ever needed. And I'll share that protocol with you on how to reach the doctors after hours. Now, if it's a routine matter, you can simply call the office and leave a message. But if it's a dental urgency, you will be able to reach our, I use the plural doctors because we have 2 doctors. But if you're a solo office, you can say you can expect to reach our doctor after hours if anything needs urgent attention. Now, Linda, since I've shared with you the 4 things that you can expect from us, may I take a second and share what we expect from you?
Absolutely.
Now, what I'm about to describe is very carefully coordinated. Notice that I gave her 4 things, and I'm only going to ask for 1 in return. So it's a pretty fair trade. 4 to 1?
Yes.
Giving her 4, only asking for 1. So then I'm going to say something, may I share what we expect from you? Sure. Well, Linda, it's really just one thing. And that is that if you make an appointment, we expect you to show up. No, Linda. We totally understand that things happen. And in fact, I believe I saw a bumper sticker the other day that say things happen. Well, Linda, it didn't say things, but I'll keep it G rated. Everyone knows that bumper sticker. Stuff
Yes,
happens.
stuff happens.
Stuff happens. And Linda, when things do happen, when stuff happens, we simply ask that you kindly give us 48 hours notice so that we can schedule a deserving patient in that time frame, in your appointment time. Linda, does that sound fair to you?
That sounds more than fair. I mean, you're giving me four things, and you just want me to keep my promise and show up
Show up.
when I make
Now
an
notice
appointment.
notice that I didn't get out my ruler
Yes.
and hit their knuckles. It wasn't heavy. It was soft. Linda,
Yes.
we just really expect one thing. But notice I'm going to be very direct. We expect that if you make an appointment, you show up. And then in the next breath, no. We understand stuff happens. We get it. We're family people. We understand stuff happens. In fact, I saw that bumper sticker the other day that says stuff happens. Well, it doesn't say
Right.
stuff. It says something else. And when that does, all we ask is that you kindly give us 48 hours advance notice so we can schedule a deserving patient in that appointment time. Does that sound fair? Everybody says yes. Now, I would be fibbing, Naren, if I said that works 100% of the time. I'd be fibbing.
Yeah.
In, in my practice or a client practices, it does not work, but it goes a long way towards instilling the expectation to give us 48 hours notice if they need to change an appointment. That's really all I'm shooting for. If patients will give us 48 hours, and I know that's not always possible because of circumstances, but if they can give us 48 hours,
Right.
it gives us plenty of time to schedule a patient in that time slot. And while I can't guarantee this is 100% successful, it goes a long way towards reducing those cancellations and no-shows. It's all about creating expectations, letting them know what we expect of them. And we've done this now in practices all over the country. And I am so encouraged to hear what I hear from scheduling coordinators and doctors and office managers say, Gary, those four things, that four thing you taught us? It works. So yes, it does. It works. It works. In fact, Robert Cialdini, if you're a I Love Dentistry member, you likely know who Robert Cialdini is, or you should know who Robert Cialdini is.
Yes.
He's considered the father of the science of influence. And Robert
Right.
Cialdini has taught 6 fundamental principles of influence.
100%.
And by the way, if you haven't read his books, his first book was titled Influence. His second book was titled Persuasion. In a way, this topic fits both of those, Aaron. I'm
Yes.
influencing the patient for their future behavior, and
Correct.
I'm persuading them. That's a play on words. That was the actual word that Dr. Robert Cialdini made up. The word is actually persuasion, but he calls it persuade. I'm persuading the patient to give us 48 hours notice if they need to.
Yes.
And while, again, I'm not going to fib and tell you it works 100% of the time, it sure goes a long way towards setting expectations. And then patients will meet those expectations if you've been clear. Mostly will meet those if you've been clear about those. What do you think about that, Darren?
I love it, Gary. I think, like you said, I love that quote from the TV personality,
Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil, that, we train people how to treat us. And that's very true. So what you're doing is you are being proactive in training these patients how to treat the practice. And as opposed to a lot of people don't train the patients, of course, they get treated, any way the patient chooses, not the way you choose.
Right. And I find that most people want to be their word. In other words, they want to be honest and be faithful about what they've agreed to do. Most people do. I mean, unless there's some emergency or some crazy thing that happened
Of course.
and they can't.
Yeah.
But most people want to be honorable.
Yes.
It's been my experience. Now, let me take this a little bit different direction because it's a question I get asked very commonly. Should I charge a broken appointment fee? Should I charge a broken appointment if the patient doesn't give 48 hours notice?
Right.
Should I charge a broken appointment fee? Well, we've experimented with different things, not only in my own practice, but with client offices all over the country. I love owning a practice because it gives me a chance to test things. And I'll share then with my audiences and our clients in terms of what our experience has been. And I do think this, though, before I give you the answer, I do think if there is no consequence to simply no showing or breaking an appointment, then aren't I training them that they can do that? Isn't that making it allowable? Aren't I permitting that?
Good point. Good point. What's your take on it, Gary?
So we have a choice. We can charge them. Well, whatever you charge them isn't going to make up the time.
Right.
You know, it's not going to cover, especially if it's a hygiene appointment. We tend to, although cancellation no-shows can happen on the doctor's side, they happen on the hygiene side. They can happen in both segments, but they tend to happen more in hygiene because of something they made in advance. On the doctor's side, we're tending to make those appointments relatively closer. The appointment time is closer to the time we made it, so they're more likely to keep those. Although I will say there are cancellation no-shows on the doctor's side. So let me tell you something we've stumbled on that I teach our clients. Instead of charging them, a broken appointment fee, what's that going to be? $50 doesn't cover the time.
Right.
So instead of doing that, we actually, everyone gets one chance, one get out of jail free card,
Right.
because stuff does happen. Everyone, but on the second time that it's either a no-show or they've had to rearrange it, reschedule it in less than 48 hours, we then send a certified letter, old school certified letter, and we back it up with an email. And in that certified letter, we say, hey, we have a problem. We had you scheduled for an appointment on such and such a day, and you didn't keep that appointment. Our accountant has recommended that we charge a $150 broken appointment fee. Now, notice that's an absurd number intentionally.
Yes.
So our accountant has recommended we charge a $150 broken appointment fee. However, that doesn't feel right to us. Here's what we're going to do instead. We're simply going to ask you to keep all future appointments or give us 48 hours advance notice if you need to change.
Correct. Okay, makes sense.
So we're going to ask you to either keep the appointments you make or give us 48 hours notice.
Right.
And if there is another incident of a no-show or a broken appointment, you will need to be under the care of another dental office. And
Fair enough.
we sign it, sincerely, doctor. And so we tell them, hey, if there's one more, it's like we're going 3 strikes here. First strike, everyone got to get out of jail free card. Second time we sent them the letter, there's still no consequence. We threatened, I'm using threatened in a playful way. The accountant has suggested we charge a $150 broken appointment fee. However, that doesn't quite seem right to us. We're not going to do that. We're simply going to ask you to be honorable about keeping your future appointments or giving us 48 hours advance notice.
Right.
And if you're not able to do that, and there's another broken appointment or another change of appointment in less than 48 hours, you're going to need to find another dental office.
Makes total sense.
And we follow through with that. I teach our clients to follow through with that. And you know what? And I'm going to say this in a polite way, but good riddance. Let them go mess up some other practice.
Yes. Yes.
But now I've had doctors, well, I don't know, Gary, that sounds kind of harsh. I don't know. You know what? Good riddance. They're haunting your practice. They're costing you money. They are not, they're coming in your practice under their terms. And you know what? You're not the right, at least in our client base, they're not the right patients for us. Let them go somewhere else.
Yes.
So I wanted to answer that question because it relates to, okay, well, what if, the patient doesn't follow the expectations that we've established?
But in your experience, having, using positive expectations, right? We do 4, we ask for 1 in return. How effective is it?
Massive. Massively effective. In fact, patients will, I remember when you talked to me at the very first appointment. That's why I wanted to call you in advance. And unfortunately, that hygiene appointment is coming up in 2 weeks. I don't know why I made that hygiene appointment, but it's the week my crazy cousin's getting married and I got to go to that wedding and I need to reschedule. But they're calling 2 weeks in advance.
That's perfect. That's all you want, right? You
That's
want them
all
to
I
let
want.
you know. Yeah.
All I want is to have them give us 40. I mean, we know,
Life
although
happens.
I will say with technology we have today, people, when they pull out their phone or they pull out, their digital device to put it in their calendar, it's just, you can kind of tell who's serious about keeping an appointment, or the patient just look at the opposite. Let's go the opposite. They kind of look at you like, oh, when was that again? When were we going to make that appointment? In July? Oh, okay, July. Oh, okay. you know, that's when you maybe need to babysit that one a little bit.
Yeah.
You can kind of read. And also notice, remember the DISC stuff,
Yes.
the DISC personality styles?
Yes.
There are apps, there's so many ways you can cross apply the DISC personality styles. The S's and C's are way more faithful about keeping their appointments. They're reliable, they're consistent, they're patterned. Of all four personality types, the most likely patient to keep their appointment and actually show up 10 minutes early because they plan for the parking. They might take me a minute to find parking.
Yeah.
Which of the four personality types, I'll put you on the spot here, D, I, S, or C, is most like, in fact, I contend that we might not even have to confirm these patients. Now, do confirm them. Do confirm them. Which of the four do you think would be most likely to keep an appointment?
I think SOCs.
S, 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 all the way.
Okay.
Because they hate conflict.
Oh, I get
They
it.
hate conflict. And they don't want to deal with, an upset. In a way, this
Right.
is a conflict to them. If they didn't keep their word, it's a conflict. And they're very patterned. They're very reliable. Now, which of the four is most likely to no-show?
The most likely to no show.
It's on the other side of the brain. I'll give
D.
you that hint.
D.
It's I.
Oh, I. Okay.
I. Because they stopped at Starbucks on the way to the dental appointment. They made a new best friend. They completely lost track of time, and they forgot about their dental appointment. The
Oh,
I.
I see.
The I.
see.
D's actually are very faithful. They're next in line after the S's. They're second most likely to keep their appointment. And they're likely to be there a minute early. They aren't going to be there 10 minutes early. They'll be a minute early and they'll expect you to finish exactly on time. People that
Right.
really get upset if things take longer are the D's.
They want to be in, out, on time.
On time. Yeah. In fact,
Makes sense.
if you want to really, if you are confident about being an on-time office, one of the things I could say to a D, if I'm a dental assistant and I'm walking you back for the appointment, Naren, it's good to see you today. We have you scheduled on this appointment till 2:00. I'm going to be the time monitor. I'm going to make sure you are walking out the front door on or before 2:00. Now, you
Makes
better be
total
pretty
sense.
confident. And then you can be really playful with this. If in fact it's 1:55 and I'm walking you to the front door, you can say, Naren, look at your watch. 1:55, way to go, Heidi.
Right.
They're going to be your new biggest fan.
Makes total
The
sense.
C's are also very reliable about keeping appointments because they're the engineers. They're very precise. They appreciate, your time and they're going to be on time. But so
I
you can
thought
use
the
the
ice-
personality stuff.
I thought because like people, I thought they would not want to let you down.
Oh,
Maybe
they
not.
love people. They love
Yeah.
people, but the eyes can be self-centered,
Right.
and they lose track of time. They thought it was a 5-minute conversation. They've been on the phone with their best friend for 30 minutes, and they lost track of time. It's
Makes
all about
total
people.
sense.
It's all about people, and they're the ones that'll show up 30 minutes late for a hygiene appointment. Here I am. And it's like, oh well, we had you scheduled at 2. Oh my gosh, is it 2:30? I had no idea.
And they literally mean it. They're not trying to be just.
No. It's
yeah.
not. It isn't rude. Rudeness.
It's not facetious. It's not like they don't care about you. Yeah.
No, it is, and they care about you. They do, and they don't like letting you down. But they're easily distracted. The shiny object syndrome with the eyes.
Oh, I
It's
see.
very easy. Now, I'm an ID.
Right.
I'm a 99I and I'm a 97D. Um, and fortunately, my D will kick in here, and I'm really good at keeping appointments. My D will kick in. But I understand those I personality styles, and it can be a challenge. Um, so you can use that disc information to understand a little bit more about what our confirmation process is with those. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. Um, and I hope this is useful for our I Love Dentistry. I hope there's pearls that you can take out and apply in your practice. But let's bring it back full circle to those creating positive expectations. I really encourage you. In fact, if you would, just do this for your next couple new patients, and then jump back in this thread and write some comments. I'd love to hear what you hear when you're presenting this to patients. Because when I say, may I share with you 4 things you can expect from us? Everybody says yes. Yeah. And I give them 4 great things that's meaningful to them. We're going to treat you like family. Because of that, we're going to use the latest advances because that's what we'd want. We stand behind it, and we stand behind our work. And here's how you can reach the doctors after hours. By the way, you're welcome to plug in whatever 4 things you want. You don't have to follow those 4. Whatever 4 things are that they can expect from you. By the way, you're welcome to use those, but you can modify it if you like. And then ask the question, now that I've shared with you what you can expect from us, may I take a minute and explain what we expect from you? Sure. And I'd love to hear your comments.
Absolutely. I love this, Gary. I think this is something that they don't need to, they can just try it out, like you said, in the next conversation. So something they could literally apply tomorrow if they want to, right?
You can apply this tomorrow. And what does this cost? Nothing. And if it radically improves your kept appointment rate and reduces your cancellation no-shows, massive benefit to the practice. Massive benefit. Aaron, we have data from our clients that before they did this, one data point that we use in hygiene is an A on the report card is if you can put a butt in the seat 92% or more of the time in terms of the available hygiene appointments. If you can fill 92% or more of those over the month, that's an A on the report card. We've had clients in the past that really struggled with this, and they had their kept appointment rate in hygiene in the 70s, 76%, 78%. 75%. And frankly, that's a failing grade on the report card.
Right.
And they put these this first step of creating positive patient expectations in, and over time they've gotten to 92%. And that's happened time and time and time again. And think what the difference is that is not only economically in your practice, but in so many ways. We know if the hygiene schedule's filled, then that's going to translate into more appointments on the doctor's side because of the exams.
Makes total sense.
Great benefits.
I love this, Gary. I really appreciate you taking the time today to go through this. Yeah, awesome topic. And looking forward to seeing you in another I Love Dentistry office hours. And for everyone who is not familiar, check out thrivingdentist.com, weekly podcast, lessinsurancedependence.com, another podcast, a weekly podcast. One is 15 minutes. The other one is more like 45 minutes. So you're going to learn from both podcasts. Thank you so much, Gary, for everything you do for anyone who's in this journey of reducing insurance dependence, creating a thriving practice. And I really appreciate all your contributions.
Hey, Aaron, before we wrap up, today's Wednesday, and Wednesday is a very important day for me because it's a day where we publish our new Thriving Dentist Show episode.
Yes.
And today is episode 494. And we record those ahead of time and then we publish. Today's episode is the 5 most important lessons I've learned in owning a practice. Is that exact? Check the title for me, Aaron. I think I got it close.
I think you got it close. Let me just find it for you. Give me 1
I
second.
want to say it's the 5 most important lessons I've learned, and then I'm not quite sure what the rest of the title is, but it's something like that.
Yes. Let me just go to the website right now as we speak.
5 most important lessons I've learned.
Oh, the 5 most important lessons I have learned since owning a dental practice.
I remember recording that. We recorded that one a couple weeks ago, and
Yes.
it was a really fun one to record. I'd encourage you guys to listen to that one and stay tuned. Coming up is going to be episode 500. Now that's about six. That is episode today is 494, correct?
Yes.
So 6 weeks from now will be episode 500. You don't want to miss it. I'm rather proud of the fact that means when we get there, that means we'll have published an episode 500 weeks in a row. 500 weeks in a row. And you're going to want to tune into that one. And the best way to make sure you don't miss it is to subscribe to the podcast. So if you go to iTunes, Google Play, if you go to Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, hit subscribe. And that means every Wednesday when we upload a new episode, it'll be automatically uploaded to your listening device. So to be sure you don't miss it, just go and subscribe. It's free. There's no cost. Naren, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but is it fair to say, you know what our planning, we've been planning this and you know what's coming, but is it fair to say that episode 500 is going to make a massive difference in all of our listeners' lives?
Yeah, I know. We have been working on it for like months now, so it's going to be a special one. I don't want to, like you said, let the cat out of the bag as to what it's going to be. It's going to be a bit of a surprise, but yeah, we are excited about it.
It involves some experts that you all know and love. I'll give you a teaser. It involves some contributors to episode 500 who you will recognize each one of their names. You know and love these people. And you're going to appreciate what they have to say. So tune in. The best way to do that, so make sure you don't miss it, is to hit subscribe.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I want to take a moment to thank every one of you in the community. We are at 8,600. Like every week, we have a new milestone. So community.
And I want to add my comment on that. I appreciate each and every one of you, all 8,600 plus of you. Thank you for being part of I Love Dentistry. We appreciate you.